Ever since I was a child, I've always dreamed of exploring the stars. The concept of living in a zero-gravity vacuum always was very appealing to me. Who didn't, on the playground or at school that, wanted to be an astronaut? If only there's a way for me to experience the vastness of space from the comfort of my own room.
Wanna go to space? Of course you do.
Unfortunate Spacemen is a first-person shooter from New Blood Interactive, developed by the genius known as Geoff Keane. New Blood is famous for making old-school boomer shooter-style games like Ultra Kill, Dusk, and Medieval. They also make Gloomwood, which I recommend. Released in June of 2016, this John Carpenter's The Thing-inspired game pits you and a team of unfortunate spacemen on a variety of maps. Here you need to solve various problems that your employers, the company, have tasked you with. These include sealing and shooting up weird alien eggs into emergency mass ejectors, turning on these transmitters to signal for help, and cleaning up debris that covers the landing pads. While there is a single-player story mode, I couldn't get into it. I was impressed by the level variety in the atmosphere, but it never got very engaging for me. It really put me to sleep. If there was any lore building there, I didn't catch it. Sorry, everyone.
But check out these cute nurses. Totally worth it, am I right?
The real meat of this game is the multiplayer mode. This game gets regular updates. Their Winter 2020 update came out not too long ago, but at the time of writing this, they had just launched their biggest update yet, the Perkmageddon. But I'll touch on that later. The updates range from minor balance tweaks to game-changing additions that you wish games like TF2 still got. Oh, and in case I didn't mention,
it's also completely free!
There is a paid version that unlocks some cosmetics and weapon skins, but I'll also touch on that later. Speaking of weapon skins, there's a large variety of guns, weapons at your disposal! Your default loadout starts with a basic pistol and a melee attack, but scattered throughout the maps are different weapons like the assault rifle, the LMG, the SMG, and the Magnum. As the round continues, you can also grab 2 different shotguns, a railgun, and the fabled rocket launcher. These guns unlock the longer the round lasts, so plan your moves carefully or else the spaceman will get the upper hand. What I just described is only one side of the gameplay. The other half is much more strategic and can drive players wild if you play your cards right. Hey wait, what's that noise? Hold on, I'll be right back.
At the start of each match, the luck of the RNG on your side, you may be chosen to play the role of the shapeshifter, more commonly referred to as just the monster. Your tactics flip from that of communication and teamwork to one of deception and murder. Equipped with increased health, the titular shapeshifting ability, and a variety of special skills that can be altered with perks, the shapeshifter can dominate the game in the right hands. Or sometimes, you just fall off the train. The shapeshifter excels in solo encounters, preferably out of the view of the various cameras placed throughout the maps, where it's almost impossible for a solo spaceman to take him out. Charging into a room full of paranoid company employees wielding a variety of punchy weapons is as good as suicide. Knowing the dark corners of the map to lurk in and camera blind spots is key to being shapeshifter number 1.
Okay, let's talk perks. Before last year, perks were an optional thing that gave you a slight edge over the competition. Maybe let you start with a better gun, maybe let you move slightly faster. That was last year. But now, with the Perkmageddon update, it's essentially its own loadout or class. The best thing about them is that no one perk automatically makes you win the game. In other multiplayer games, such as Star Wars Battlefront 2, you get perks that make you a better player. Here, that isn't the case. Monster Tamer and Space Madness prone king Geoff Keane realized that would be bad. Just because you select the perk that gives you slightly more health, doesn't make you better. You have to work hard in this game, and playing to your class's strengths can make rounds go by a lot quicker and make you a better and valued employee to the company. As the spaceman, you have different types of perks. As you gain experience from playing, your overall rank increases. While you have some from the start, the higher your rank, the more abilities you unlock. These range from utility, defense, offense, added security, and more. Don't like fighting? Well, don't worry, because there's also different professions you can use that help balance your abilities a bit more and aid in playstyle flexibility. You can be a doctor that gives you a disposable medpack that recharges. There's the janitor that allows you to seal doors with your welder and run the disguise meter down to the shapeshifter with your fire hydrant. How the fire hydrant overheats, I don't and will never understand. This company has one too many accounts of giving their employees faulty gear, so there's no use complaining here. To go into full detail on every perk would take way too long. If you want to learn more, you can always check out the wiki, or just play the game yourself. Here are some of my personal recommendations. I don't like the movement speed. I think it's too slow and there should be a sprint button. Take the Springy Step perk. Makes you move slightly faster and lets you interact with objects instantly. Don't like running out of oxygen and your dollar store HEV suit nagging you all the time when you're outside? Take the oxygen filter that lets you breathe a bit easier. While you can only have 3 perks at once, it helps to mix and match until you find a playstyle that's comfortable for you. Maybe with these added loadouts and abilities, you might fare better against the hostile presence that walks among you. Where was I? Oh yeah, I wanted to discuss the maps. At the time of writing this, there are currently 15 maps in the game. Some are labeled beginner-friendly and contain low amounts of environmental hazard trickery. Certain maps contain cliffs to push your fellow spacemen off, airlocks to send them flying into the vacuum of space, though with the Magnet Boots perk you can avoid death. Nearly every map has vents that the shapeshifter can fast travel to and from, though thankfully, it can still be damaged and potentially killed if it doesn't leave fast enough. Here are my favorite maps in the game. You got Spacebar. It's concise, fun to maneuver around, and I love the details of this map like a movie theater and a car lot. Though there is this one segment outside the door that always tricks me because I think there's a way in here because this looks like a door but it isn't. Joff, hurry up and add a door there! Outpost 13 is great because of how much it reeks of the thing. There's just so much atmosphere here, you almost choke on it. Space Burbia, because the atmosphere, again, is phenomenal, and the music is top-notch. I'd mention how I like the atmosphere on every map, but then it would get repetitive. Let me just say that Keen and his boys nailed the feel of this game. When I take a look at the skyboxes in this map, I want to live there, I want to be there. It sucks me into the world, and it makes me forget that horrible alien monsters are here. The soundtrack in this game really helps that as well. According to Keen, save for the main menu theme, the entire soundtrack is licensed freeware tracks that you could find if you looked hard enough. Even still, it's pretty relaxing and puts you in a certain mood that few games of the genre can. Now for the bad. There's quite a few things to talk about here. Since I was just discussing maps, I'll stay on that topic. Hypertrain sucks. To one long stretch with no looping paths. It's structured like a train, but in space, so it's a linear hallway with teleporters that jump you around to certain cars. But the teleporters don't help because they aren't labeled like the ones in Snowswept are. Every game I've ever played on this map has dragged, and it's probably the only real bad map in the game. The rest are just annoying to play around, so good on Zag for only having one real stinker. Actually, I take that back, because Durus is easily the worst map in the game. For starters, the entire map is cut into segues that don't all connect to each other. You have to take this glitchy tram that moves at 5 frames per second. You get oxygen when you ride it, but every game I've ever played, I've fallen out of the tram while inside it. That, or I always end up in this thing with the monster, who obviously can kill you very quickly, but then the monster is also stuck in that awkward tram, so it's just not fun at all to play around. I actually hate this map and only played it for the video, so when I die, I hope this doesn't count as my biggest sin in life. Moving on, H2O is bland. It's underwater, so your oxygen meter depleting here makes a lot of sense. But there's not enough exits to go underwater, and the entrances are too split apart to survive. Because you have limited air, it's impossible to clear out the landing pads in one cycle. There's too much backtracking. Though you can find out that Dopefish does indeed live. Recruitment I have similar problems with, where there's just too much backtracking and an airlock trap that doesn't make structural sense within the map. Echo's only here because even though it's listed as beginner-friendly, it's a huge map with lots of twisting corridors and interconnecting rooms. I've seen a lot of people get lost running around in circles. Maybe put some of them fancy teleporters in there. Last and least is gardens. I'll sum it up with one word: tiny. This map is tiny. Too close quarters to fight the monster head-on, too close quarters to fight the spacemen head-on. Because as the spacemen, you will always end up shooting your teammates, and there's no maneuverability for the monster. It's also very dark and has this weird green foggy haze all over that really does not help visibility. Moving out for maps, it's time for some shit picking. Customization is a big part of this game. Like TF2, you can change how your spaceman looks. Change their body type, their helmet, their visor, even their voice. There's hundreds of options, but a tiny fraction of them are free. Yeah, this game has microtransactions, and all of them are overpriced. I don't care what anyone says. When you level up, you unlock suit, visor, and helmet options, and most of them are pretty great. You can also customize your little spaceman voice, with some of the options provided by some YouTubers and streamers I've never really heard of.
Salutations.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Booyah! Get out of here now.
Now that's a joke. Not great. Hello.
This seems a bit fishy to me.
Don't take that as me digging them. I'm sure they're very talented. YouTube just never recommends new people to me, and I don't use Twitch that often. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, suit customization. Big fan of the HEV helmet, though I wish the actual suit was here. Love the Mandalorian outfit, love the Doom Marine suit, and all the cross-promotion stuff you can get by buying other games, like the Postal Dude's robe from Postal 4 and his voice by John St. John.
Hey, dummy, look over here. Oh yeah, time to haul ass.
The Leatherneck Sack from Dusk, Gabriel's Helmet, and Blood Machine for the monster from Ultrakill, including a voice option by Gianni Matragrano himself.
You have my blessing. The light will reveal the truth.
Yes, that Gianni.
Before you can close your eyes and rotate a cow in your mind. Street and the cops can't stop you.
There's even Big John. The rest you have to pay for if you want them, and I don't rock with that. I get it, it's a free game, the devs gotta make money somehow, and I can respect their hustle, but I'm not going for it. The spacemen get all kinds of amazing options, but the monster only has 6. Back in the day, you could mix and match monster body parts like you could spaceman suits, but they cut that and replaced it with the current system. I don't think they all look too great. Nothing here makes me want to rip open my wallet and shower the Keen team with my money.
Okay, everyone. This is normally about where I'd end the video. Script's about 4 pages long. Video runtime should be, I don't know where it is now, but 11, 12 minutes, give or take, maybe. But I think it's time for the second half of this video title to make sense. It's time to talk about a similar game. It's similar mechanics, similar setting, similar playstyle even, but not similar fans. It's time to talk about Among Us. Okay, with that out of the system, let's talk about it. Let's go.
Among Us was developed by the team known as Inner Sloth, who you remember from your childhood days in the school's computer lab. They made Flash games like the Henry Stickmin games. Apparently they've also made Dig to China 1 and 2. And of course, Among Us. Released in 2018 to a unanimous, neat. This adorable little Flash game has you and 10 players doing various tasks around your spaceship to win the round. Tasks are divided into short, medium, and long. Some are as boring as standing around for a medical scan. Others are more like playing a short microgame akin to the WarioWare series. I see a lot of people complain about this card swiping task and how impossible it is. It isn't. You just have to not have a chimp brain. It's the easiest task there is, and I always get it first try. There's 3 maps, but nobody ever plays the other 2, so there's 1 map, and all the tasks are the same in each game. They're never swapped around or anything like that, so memorization is very easy. Other than playing as the crewmates, you get to play as the imposter. I said no more! The imposter's job is to kill all the crewmates, and that's it. You can either have 1, 2, or 3 imposters, but nobody ever doesn't have only 2 imposters, so 2 out of 10 people have to work together to kill all the crewmates. I say work together, but there's no music, there's no ambient tracks, there's hardly any sound effects at all. You could play this muted and there wouldn't be much of a difference. When you get killed by the monster, your ghost can freely move around the map, no clipping around, and still complete all your tasks as if you never died, so death really doesn't have much of a consequence. Your teammates never seem to get that memo, because the game often slows to a crawl once more of you start dying and not realizing that you can still win. When a dead body is reported, everyone is zipped away to a mandatory meeting, which sucks immense ass because of doing tasks like asteroid blasting, or that god-awful Simon Says game, or the file downloading. Here's where you talk it out amongst yourselves and choose who the killer is. But this never goes as planned, because people who play this game have the IQ of toddlers, and the loyalty of a weasel, and the attention span of a goldfish. People will turn on you just because other people told them to, and it's always frustrating. Okay, I'll stop beating around the bush here. This game is fucking boring! Have you ever noticed how every review ever always tells you to play with friends? That's because watching paint dry is more fun than playing this game alone or with random people. Getting a full server is nigh impossible, because people will leave if they don't immediately join into a full lobby, and will often leave if they don't get imposter first round. The game doesn't fix this by lowering the amount of tasks if others leave mid-game, by the way. Remember how earlier I called this game a cute little Flash game? Because that's what it is. A $5 Flash game with 1 map, awful multiplayer, awful balancing, awful paid cosmetics, and an awful community.
It ain't funny anymore. Try different jokes.
I used to give this game credit for doing things like letting dead crewmates still complete tasks, because dying early on in Unfortunate Spacemen was, and still is, the worst thing ever, because as a ghost, the game was over. You couldn't do anything. That is, until they added the ability for ghosts to seal up samples and make noises to alert alive players that the shapeshifter is near. My bottom line is that Unfortunate Spacemen is not the same game it was at launch. It's not even the same game it was last year. Among Us hasn't changed since launch. And the time it took Inner Sloth to announce they were making one new map, Spacemen got 2 giant updates with a million more well along the way. Why did Among Us receive Game Award advertisement and all the publicity it has? It's a mystery to me. Maybe because it's a baby game and easy for casual kids to pick up and play. Or maybe because it's a baby game that streamers and YouTubers don't have to put a lot of effort into, so they can crank out as much garbage at the speed of light. So please, do yourself a favor and stop giving this game out of this world attention. It's a cute little game for what it is, and I won't fault it for being that. It was a nice idea that had a decent team and a player base, and was going to get a sequel before the original exploded in popularity, which they then canceled to make this game better, which they still haven't done. I can't stand looking up Unfortunate Spacemen and seeing shit like, "Oh, 3D Among Us with guns!" Or seeing people making proximity voice chat mods for Among Us, because Unfortunate Spacemen is not 3D Among Us with guns. Among Us is Unfortunate Spacemen without substance. This game doesn't even have a single player mode. At least Spacemen tried. It wasn't very good, but the effort was there. I played this game for roughly an hour and a half to get footage, and it felt like a year. It was draining to play. Despite my ranting, I don't hate this game. I just find it boring and really bare bones. I applaud Inner Sloth for finding rampant fame and success, and I only hope that this game gets more updates to be on par with, or even compete with Spacemen. But while you're at it, you think you could stop selling the Henry Stickmin collection for $15 on Steam? I'd go play the original Newgrounds for free. Make it $5 and we'll talk. I ain't paying $15 for an HD collection of comedic Flash games.
At the end of the day, I think it's fairly obvious which one I think is the better game between the two of them. And if nothing else, I hope this video encourages more people to go play Unfortunate Spacemen. Because, you know, there's nothing more unfortunate than talent going unrecognized.